Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV, and the Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news show.
If you have a news topic or tips you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show is live on Wednesday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Saturday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, the West Rim controlled fire, the Colorado River Agreement, and more.
And also weather, Sheriff's Roundup, High Canyon Country happenings, and today is September 27th, 2017. Now here's the news at noon. Reported in the Cortez Journal, the Bureau of Land Management Southwest Colorado Fire and Aviation Management Unit plans to conduct several prescribed burns within the Tres Rios Field Office's territory as early as this week. The West Rim Pine Burn will treat 300 acres or more of ponderosa pine and Gamble oak. It's located about 7 miles east of Dove Creek. No road closures are expected during the project. However, camping in proximity to the units is discouraged because of increased traffic and likelihood of smoke in the area, particularly at night. Several units of the West Rim Pines project were successfully treated last fall and are showing positive results, the BLM said. The burn plan contains specific criteria regarding weather conditions and air quality that must be met to help ensure control of the burn, as well as minimize the potential smoke impacts to local communities, said Ian Barrett, BLM Fire Management Specialist. The Rabbit Mountain project, located 5 miles northwest of Bayfield, is designed to maintain previous mechanical fuels treatments, restore and maintain ecosystem health, and decrease surface fuel loading to reduce wildfire risk. The prescribed burn will treat about 287 acres of ponderosa pine, pinyon juniper woodlands, and mountain shrub when completed. The prescribed burns are part of a larger project to reintroduce fire to a fire-adapted ecosystem to restore healthy forests and species diversity. Benefits include reduced hazardous fuels to protect wildlife urban interface at communities, improve range conditions, and game and sage-grouse habitat. Of course, the burns may take multiple days to complete once initiated and will be monitored throughout the process to ensure public safety. Smoke may be visible in the burn area for several days after each burn is completed as vegetation in the interior continues to smolder. However, most of the smoke will lift and dissipate during the warmest parts of the day.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, prosecutors in New York announced this week that an August drug raid yielded 140 pounds of fentanyl, the most in the city's history and enough to kill 32 million people, they told New York 4. Those numbers underscore the dizzying size of the current opioid crisis, and the report of the New York bust comes the same week as another shocking piece of evidence that America's pill problem has reached a critical milestone. On Tuesday, researchers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention published an analysis showing the crisis has actually negatively impacted life expectancy in the United States. 7 researchers contributed to the analysis, which was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The contributors crunched the numbers recorded by the National Vital Statistics System mortality file, a storehouse of death data from all 50 states and the District of Columbia from between 2000 and 2015. It found that the average American life expectancy grew overall from 2000 to 2015, but that the astounding rise in opioid-related deaths shaved 2.5 months off this improvement. That's 0.21 years compared to the 0.02 years taken off the average life expectancy by alcohol overdose. No factor negatively affected life expectancy more. While overdose deaths in general in the U.S. more than doubled in that 15-year span, opioid overdoses more than tripled, the study reported. The average life expectancy for an American born in 2010 was 76.8 years, which grew to 78.8 years in 2015. The study suggested that if it wasn't for opioid-related deaths, it would have been higher still. Opioid overdose still hasn't cracked the top 12 leading causes of death, which, aside from suicide and unintentional injuries, are all medical conditions, but it's close.
Reported in the Durango Herald, the Durango Business Improvement District has seen an uptick in the number of, quote, characters drifting into downtown and is calling on merchants to make it difficult for them to, quote, do their business downtown, not that business. This is how the BID described the state of panhandling in its September 20th newsletter, which is sent to 1,300 subscribers who want to keep up with downtown happenings. Durango Police Department cannot physically remove them, but the more difficult businesses make it for them to, quote, do their business on our sidewalks, the less inviting the streets of Durango will be, the newsletter reads. Some homeless prevention advocates feel the vernacular seems a little cold, crude, and unprofessional in describing people who panhandle. Rachel Bausk, executive director of the Durango Community Shelter, was upset. She said, "These are human beings. It's somebody's mom, dad, brother, sister, daughter, son, aunt, or uncle. These are people, not, quote, characters." And the idea that panhandlers are conducting a, quote, business paints everyone with one broad brushstroke, regardless of whether they chose panhandling as a source of income or have no other choice at this time. Tim Walsworth, executive director of the BID, stood by the language used in the weekly newsletter, saying there are two ways people could interpret, quote, characters, and for some people, panhandling is a business, quote, but it's in quotes for a reason. We didn't mean any offense by it. We just mean some of the same people that we've seen before are coming back into our downtown and perhaps causing some problems, he said. Walsworth said the Business Improvement District is sensitive to the homeless and panhandling issues and is working with community partners to steer people towards services and to encourage the public to donate to the Make It Count campaign, which benefits charities that serve people in need rather than just one person. He characterized homeless people and panhandlers in three ways: those dealing with circumstances out of their control and are trying to do something about it, those who have substance abuse and mental health issues that prevent them from getting the help they need to live a different lifestyle, and those who have chosen homelessness or panhandling as a lifestyle. All three types of people have a right to live as they choose, Walsworth said, but what is not okay is when people yell at passerbyers, block sidewalks, smoke within 5 feet of doorways, are publicly intoxicated, and are being a nuisance. BID hosted a town hall in April to gather ideas for what to do about those who have chosen panhandling as a lifestyle, the transient panhandlers who are impacting the safety, charm, and allure of our community. Again, advocates for the homeless take exception. Kathy Tonneson, executive director at Manna Soup Kitchen, said she doesn't fault Walsworth or the BID for its approach to panhandling because the BID has taken a lot of heat from business owners who are frustrated by the situation, but it is important to look at everyone as individuals. It is, quote, challenging when able-bodied people choose to panhandle rather than get a job, but that's not the majority, she said. I'm blown away every day by their grit and their determination and their strength and their resilience, she said of the majority of people who are facing homelessness or are homeless.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, whether the recently closed playground at Joe Rowell Park in Dolores should be restored or replaced depends on the conclusions of an upcoming inspection, the town board said Monday during a workshop attended by about 50 residents. The town is seeking a playground engineer to inspect the popular Ron Kotarski Memorial Playground, which was closed suddenly by the town on September 11th after a tour highlighting deficiencies. Board members said they closed the playground for public safety concerns after a review with the town maintenance staff showed the wood has deteriorated and the structural posts have rotted. Lopez said the structure is unstable and he displayed large splinters he received during a site tour that could injure a child. The board has not reported any accidents attributed to the playground's condition. The town's insurance company has continued to cover the playground, they said, but has noted some deterioration. Town manager Lena Hancock said the town has contacted 3 companies for the inspection and cost assessment of repairs, and one will be chosen soon. The companies are Play by Design, Leathers and Associations, which originally built the playground, and SGM Inc. The playground was installed in 2001 as a community build project funded in part by a $100,000 grant from Great Outdoors Colorado. Hundreds of volunteers assisted Leathers and Associates during construction of the mostly wood playground, which features distinct towers and multiple play features. Town grant writer Chris Burkett explained that the playground is under a 20-year contract with GOCO. As part of the grant agreement, to remove it would require GOCO review and approval. Burkett said GOCO has informed the town that it is still eligible for grants for a new playground if it is determined the playground needs to be removed before the contract expires. Wood structures don't necessarily have a 20-year lifespan, Burkett said, and there is an application process to shorten the contract with an indication to rebuild. GOCO grants require a 40% match from the community, 25% in cash, and 15% in in-kind services.
From the Durango Herald, the United States and Mexico have agreed to renew and expand a far-reaching conservation agreement that governs how they manage the overused Colorado River, which supplies water to millions of people and farms in both nations. The agreement, to be signed Wednesday, calls for the U.S. to invest $31.5 million in conservation improvements in Mexico's water infrastructure to reduce losses to leaks and other problems. This, according to officials of U.S. water districts who have seen summaries of the agreement. The water that the improvements save would be shared by users in both nations and by environmental restoration projects. The deal also calls on Mexico to develop specific plans for reducing consumption if the river runs too low to supply everyone's needs. That, according to Bill Hasenkamp of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, which supplies water to about 19 million people in and around Los Angeles. Major river consumers in the U.S. would be required to agree on their own shortage plan before Mexico produces one, he said. The deal will extend a previous agreement that both countries would share the burden of water supply cutbacks if the river runs low. The International Boundary and Water Commission, which has members from both countries and oversees U.S.-Mexico treaties on borders and rivers, declined to release a copy of the agreement before Wednesday's signing ceremony in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Officials with the Mexican Foreign Ministry said in an email Tuesday they had no immediate comment, but U.S. officials who have been briefed on the details said the deal will help both sides. The agreement provides more certainty in how the two countries will deal with the risks of a shortage and recognizes the danger the river faces. The river begins in the mountains of Colorado and winds 1,400 miles to Mexico, although heavy use means it usually dries up before it reaches its delta on the Gulf of California, where Mexico's Sonora and Baja California states meet. Along the way, it supplies water to about 40 million people and 6,300 square miles of farmland in the U.S. alone. The deal being signed Wednesday, known as Minute 323, is an amendment to a 1944 U.S.-Mexico treaty that lays out how the two nations share the river. The treaty promises Mexico 1.5 million acre-feet of water annually. The U.S. uses the rest. The average annual flow in the river is about 16.4 million acre-feet, according to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, which manages the river here in the U.S.
According to the Durango Herald, Durango streets, sidewalks, and city buildings won't see many improvements next year because of recent erratic sales tax collections. Annual sales tax collections increased 6.6% in 2015 and 1.9% in 2016. This year, through August, Durango has seen 2.1% sales tax increase. However, the city projects 0% sales tax growth in 2018. City Manager Ron LeBlanc told the Durango City Councilors on Tuesday. Retail sales have likely been hurt by internet sales, declines in oil and gas, and corresponding population declines in Farmington, he said in an interview. He encouraged councilors to start thinking about a possible long-term solution to bolster the sales tax-reliant general fund, which pays for basic city services such as police and streets, and involving residents in that conversation. LeBlanc presented a balanced budget, but the city doesn't have adequate funding for future spending on buildings, streets, sidewalks, and storm drainage projects, all of which will require millions of dollars in investment, LeBlanc said. A solution could likely include a new funding source, such as an increase in sales or property taxes, he said in an interview. The city could also cut services if the public was open to that. In 2018, it expects to have $153,000 in city savings that could be used for basic services. The city also has about $7 million set aside in reserve for emergencies. Far more public outreach and engagement will be needed to determine how to pay for the infrastructure, he said. And now, here's our weather report.
The rain moving in slowly from the southwest took from 7:30 to 9:30 this morning to move from Bug Park to 3 miles south of Dove Creek since it's reached town. Rain showers and thunderstorms and accumulating snow for the higher mountains are all normal fall expectations. A few lightning strikes have been noted in southeast Utah. This system will continue to spread south to north as the day moves on. Snow levels are still expected to be at 11,000 feet, but the National Weather Service says it may drop lower. Heavier precipitation looks like it will start at 3 p.m. now and continue through tomorrow, and winter weather advisory is up for the San Juan Mountains, where 4 to 6 inches of snow is expected at those elevations. 2 to 4 are possible in the Central Mountains for that time period. High mountain passes this evening and overnight are likely to be winter conditions, so be cautious, don't be surprised. Friday morning is now back on for showers, then it's expected to clear afterwards, with the weekend slowly drying things out. Heavy rainfall will continue across central and western Texas, with amounts possibly in excess of 3 inches between now and Thursday afternoon. Flash flooding is possible across that region. This activity will abate some after Wednesday. The East Coast states will have one more day of unseasonably warm temperatures today, with highs well into the 80s for many areas. A strong cold front is forecast to continue tracking eastward and reach the East Coast by Thursday afternoon and the Gulf Coast region by Friday afternoon. This will bring a refreshing change to fall-like conditions after the recent summer-like warmth and humidity. Tropical storm Maria is forecast to be about 150 miles east of the Outer Banks today, close enough to cause 35 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts near the coast and some coastal flooding. The front slowly approaching from the west will finally cause an eastward turn for Maria later in the week. Today's high is expected to be 54 degrees, with tomorrow reaching 61 and a climb up to 69 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. Lows will run around in the mid-40s. Winds are still to run from 5 to 10 miles per hour for the next 3 days and nights. Broad coverage of showers and thunderstorms will persist through midday tomorrow and then begin to drop off into Friday. Again, beware of the high mountain passes this evening and through tomorrow. And now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, the Dolores Public Library has promoted longtime employee Diana Donahue to the position of director, according to a recent news release. Donahue started volunteering at the library in 2003 when it was still housed in the Dolores Town Hall. The release said. She was hired as an employee in 2005 and has done several different jobs there, such as handling billing and administration and working as the library cataloger. After former director Virginia Mattingly quit in June, Donahue became the co-interim director. She wrote about how much the library has evolved since she started working there, from a traditional place to check out books to a community hub where anyone can access information in any format. The library recently adjusted its floor plan to accommodate more people with electronic devices, the release said, and its board of directors hopes to add a private study room to the building in the near future. The library offers tech tutoring on Tuesdays from 2 to 5 p.m. and toddler story time every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. An adult book group meets the second Thursday of every month at 9 a.m. in addition to other programs for adults and children.
Perhaps you are familiar with the term the canary in the coal mine, which stems from the use of the birds to detect the presence of toxic gases that could kill miners, and by being so sensitive that they would die first, thereby warning the miners to leave. Now enter the crayfish in the clean water test. Yes, air and now water by critter testing. In this case, the crayfish presumably gets to live. From Reuters, the creatures which react quickly to changes in their aquatic environment are in fish tanks through which water is pumped from the same natural source that a brewery uses. The animals are fitted with infrared biosensors which monitor their heartbeat and movement. Data is analyzed by a computer, and any changes in the animal's body or behavior flags a change in the purity levels of the water in its tank. Head brewer Michael Voldrich says that when 3 or more crayfish are moving or change their pulse activity, we know that the water parameters have changed. We can react quickly because we have the result within 3 minutes. The water system was developed and patented by scientists at the Faculty of Fisheries and Protection of Water at South Bohemia University. We are using crayfish like a living chemical laboratory, like a bioindicator and biosensor together, said Pavel Kozak, director of the university's Research Institute of Fish Culture and Hydrobiology. The crayfish react very fast on any non-specific change, which is different than other detectors which react fast on a very low concentration of pollution or whatever, but only on one specific agent. There's one big plus for live researchers over electronics. Researchers aim to upgrade the technology, can we call the crayfish researchers, used in the scheme, and plan to use special cameras to monitor the animals' hearts. Scientists use naturally occurring crayfish populations in bodies of water as a method of studying water pollution, effectively turning the animals into biosensors.
Reported by the Durango Herald, the sight of a drone equipped to detect levels of radiation flying a few feet off the ground last week at the Durango Dog Park had a few dog owners turning their heads. So much so that the event even earned itself a space in the Durango Police Department's blotter. However, what some dog owners witnessed that day at the popular park near downtown Durango is a potentially promising method of detecting levels of radiation over large swaths of land. It is also being captured in a Fort Lewis College classes documentary about Durango's history of uranium, a partnership between the college and Rocky Mountain PBS. Earlier this semester, the FLC class began filming the documentary, which will premiere in October. Rocky Mountain PBS is also airing a film about uranium issues throughout the state as part of the history series Colorado Experience. Carol Fleischer, an award-winning documentary maker based in Durango who is helping teach the class, said she was looking for ways to cross over into other majors that may contribute to the film. That's when she was introduced to John Harvey, an assistant professor in the Department of Geosciences, who had a student, River White, looking for a project to earn a GIS certificate, which is done through an independent study or internship. That is when the idea of attaching a Geiger counter, an instrument used for detecting radiation, to a drone was born. From 1942 to 1963, the site of the Durango Dog Park was the location of a mill that refined uranium. The Department of Energy from 1986 to 1991 embarked on a cleanup which moved most of the uranium tailings to a site in Bodo Canyon. However, while conceptualizing the documentary, the question arose, what if residual uranium tailings are still present at the heavily trafficked dog park, and what would be a new way to find it? The Department of Energy did not respond to requests for comment on this story. FLC's Harvey said there are no previous examples of attaching a Geiger counter to a drone, but in theory, it is a simple and straightforward method of finding hotspots of radiation. The goal is to fly the drone in a grid-like pattern, which effectively will create a map that will show if any elevated levels of radiation exist in the flight path, said River White, a geology major. If the method is successful, it could be used in other areas with similar issues of radiation or other contaminants. White said, as of Tuesday, the data collected had not yet been examined.
Also reported by the Durango Herald, for many who call the desert Southwest home, it is not the grandeur of aspen leaf carotenoid shifting gold, red, and orange that signifies the approaching fall season. No, it is the heat of propane-fired rotisseries, the crackle of blistered chili pods, and that distinct smoky sweet smell of roasting green chili wafting through the air that signals the change in season. It's fall and finally green chili season. It would be unheard of and verging on blasphemy to be unfamiliar with the green and red chili pepper, Capsicum annum, that has become synonymous with New Mexican and Southwestern cuisine. However, it wasn't always this way. The chili pepper is not native to the area. Its origins stem from central Mexico and into Central and South America. According to the nonprofit Archaeology Southwest, it wasn't until Don Juan Oñate brought a few seeds with him in 1598 that the chili pepper made its way into the region and was slowly adopted into indigenous cuisine. Fabian Garcia, the father of the U.S. chili pepper industry and founder of the Chili Improvement Program at New Mexico State University, went on in 1888 to develop the now familiar Anaheim and New Mexican chili pod shapes and flavors. And notably, most chili pepper varieties, such as the New Mexico No. 9, Big Jim, Sandia, Lumbres, and many more, were the result of his regional cultivar efforts and genetic crossbreeding of pepper varieties. Sutherland Farms, a third-generation family farm operating in Aztec for the past 35 years, has been growing and providing the region with fresh roasted New Mexico chilies for nearly 20 years. Don't confuse their chili with Hatch chili, though. The Sutherlands are proud to offer what they call Animus green chili. To avoid any disputes, think of chili varieties like varieties in wine. Similar grape varieties grown in different regions will produce wines with a unique terroir, the impact that environment, soil type, temperature, and the like has on a given crop. Much the same of wine can be then said of green chili. Sutherland said, "We grow varieties that range from mild to extra hot. Big Jims are a medium, Sandias are hot, and our Lumbres are extra hot." Now, new for us in this year is the G76, which is more consistent in heat than the Big Jims and is still a meaty green chili that works for all of our meals when cooking at home, they said. For the chili novitiate, the strange-looking fruit might be frightening for many reasons, but the biggest fear Sutherland has seen is that of burning your mouth in a scorched earth kind of way. Sutherland recommends that anyone new to chili should start with something familiar, such as a green chili cheeseburger. A good rule of thumb is to say smaller chilies pack greater heat than the larger pods. The Sutherlands can be found roasting green chili at the Durango Farmers Market on Saturdays, Scott Brewing on Thursday nights, the Aztec and Farmington Growers Market, and on the Sutherland Farm. For the Sutherlands, green chili is a family affair. They celebrate as a family in May during planting and hold a green chili festival for the community in mid-September. For more information about the Sutherlands or their green chili, visit sutherlandfarms.net.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of September 18th through the 24th. A suspicious vehicle was reported on the private property of a business. The vehicle's owner was located and stated that they had mechanical troubles and were awaiting a personal tow. A resident reported that a local business showed up on caller ID, but the caller was a recorded telemarketing call. The reporting party knew it was a scam, but wanted to be sure the sheriff's office and residents were aware of it. Dispatch contacted the local business to let them know this occurred. A deputy noticed a car in the high school parking lot with the lights left on. A deputy located the owner and advised them. An outfitter contacted the sheriff's office to report with a hunter that had taken an illegal elk. Colorado Parks and Wildlife were notified and responded. A deputy helped a stranded motorist at a local business. The owner of the Holsteins on the loose on County Road 7 and County Road L were notified of their escape. That's it for this week's roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates next week.
Today is High Canyon Country Happening. Saturday, September 30th from 1 to 4 p.m., join the Southwest Farm Fresh 2017 Fall CSA program and get fresh local produce from mid-October through early December. Visit their website for more details. It's southwestfarmfresh.com. And in Job Ops, SWFF is searching for a new general manager for the farmer-owned cooperative distribution business. If you know a skilled management professional with experience in local food systems, please pass along the link found on our Facebook page. Position starts 12/1/17. And this Saturday, September 30th, is also the Fee-Free Days in America's National Parks. Mesa Verde invites you to come on out. The last one for this year will be Veterans Day weekend, November 11th and 12th. Note that the, quote, entrance fee waiver for the Fee-Free Days does not cover amenities or user fees for things such as camping, boat launches, transportation, or special tours. And of course, all of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather and original stories, and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. It's dcbnnews@gmail.com or call us at the station. It's 677-411-9, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday, and then it is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m., and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3 and 6.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. That's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook and Jerry Tope with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.